So we've been gone for a little while.
Just a little siesta.
Just a small one. Just
Yeah.
Nothing big, nothing huge happened, nothing, crazy, just that we got COVID.
COVID hit the Montoya household.
Hard.
Yeah.
Real hard. So if you've noticed a lapse in your podcast feed when it comes to our podcast, that is the reason why. And if you follow us on social media, you would know, which if you didn't know, then make sure you follow us on social media for all updates regarding the podcast and any content from us, in fact. But we, unfortunately, all three of us, so me, Nikki, and our child, all came down with COVID.
And we didn't even catch it at Midsummer Scream.
We didn't.
No,
we got
it was
from
from
our child's
daycare.
Daycare. So, thankfully our kiddo got through it pretty much fantastic. To just give you a brief idea of how we found out, Erin got her second vaccine shot, and the day after we just assumed that her being fussy was because of the side effects of the vaccine, which she stayed home that day because that is the day she stays home normally. And
then Saturday, we were a bit more skeptical of it being a side effect of the vaccine. And we
because
tested
it lasted
her,
longer.
Yeah, and it was a very strong positive. Then Gabe, you tested positive the next day, and I tested positive the day after that.
Yeah, so we all kind of tested. Then Erin completely was fine. Like, other than her being fussy that one day, totally fine every single other day. For that matter, I mean, like, our kid handles being sick very, very well in general. Nikki, you did okay. Your symptoms were kind of like spread more than the rest.
I got my symptoms one by one, which was kind of annoying. So like I had a fever first, and then I had fatigue, and then both of those went away, and then I got like all the sinus stuff. So like sneezing, runny nose, like congestion. I got all that after. So it came in stages, which was like super annoying.
But all of it was rather mild.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. Like it was rather mild. Like it was an annoying cold for you is essentially what it was.
Way to downplay my symptoms.
I'm not downplaying your symptoms, just that's the facts.
You just want to make yours seem that much more dramatic.
I am not making it seem dramatic. I'm just giving the straight facts here. Like if we were talking about anything else, then I got hit by a truck. Like big time got hit by a truck.
Straight facts. Straight facts.
I had a fever of 104.5. Like it was strong. That's the highest fever I think I've ever had.
Yeah, it was. That was gnarly.
Yeah, it was a really weird sicular thing going on because, I was overheated beyond all belief because I had that high fever. So I had the shivers. So then I would put a blanket on. Then I would be overheated because I got hot under the blankets. But then I got cold again because the fans were on me and I was sweaty. And it just was happening all over. And then after that, the aches and the pains and the just being tired all kind of set in. But thankfully, all of us are on the other end of this now. Thank God, we're all feeling much better, even to the point where we're able to sit here and record. We wanted to give you guys a personal update on top of the episode, just so that you guys are aware of what's going on with us and, letting you know that we're okay and all that stuff. So that's pretty much all it comes down to.
Yeah. So we're all feeling better. Unfortunately, our episode got postponed a week.
Yeah,
we
just
were
a little bit.
In no shape last week to record. So apologies, but we are all healthy and happy and back to normal.
Yeah, so what follows is on-location recording for days 1 and 2 of Midsummer Scream. You're going to hear an interview with John Murdy. You're also going to hear the music that Slash has made for the brand new Universal Monsters Legends Collide maze at Halloween Horror Nights here in Hollywood. A lot of other fun stuff that we did, including slider shows, Zombie Joes, things like that. And then we're going to jump into day 3, which is going to be us recording here at the house talking about everything I did, because Nikki actually wasn't there that day.
Yeah, I just went for the one day.
Yeah, so that's what you're going to hear. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Welcome, foolish mortals, to the Haunted Mansion.
On this week's episode, we're going to be talking Midsummer Scream 2022. You're listening to episode 136 of the Theme Park Duo Podcast.
Prepare yourselves for an unforgettable encounter.
Hi.
Hi, and welcome to the Theme Park Duo podcast. Grab your park map, churro, and hop in line with us as we take you on a coast-to-coast adventure through the world of theme parks, haunts, conventions, and more. Now, here's your hosts, Nikki and Gabriel.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another fantastic episode of the Theme Park Duo podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Gabe.
And I'm Nikki.
And we are
the Theme Park Duo.
So we're here live at Midsummer Scream at the Long Beach Convention Center. The big return to the Long Beach Convention Center for year 5 of this fantastic convention celebrating all aspects of our favorite season of the year, and that is Halloween.
We are so happy to be back.
Honestly, because you got here today, I was here yesterday just for the show floor. There's no panels or anything.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be here tomorrow. What was your feeling walking back onto that show floor after so many years having been away from the event, after having gone through COVID and everything?
I think the best description I can give is that it just felt like nothing had changed. You know, it just felt so normal and just so comfortable and so just right, you know?
The way I kind of put it was that it felt like home.
Yeah.
You know, you walk in, you get that warm feeling of the things that excite you, that make you happy. You know, for people who aren't Halloween people, it's the way that Christmas feels for you when you see the first Christmas decoration show up on the shelf. You know, for us, that's the same thing with Halloween. You see the masks, you see the fog, you smell the fog, all those different aspects of the season you're getting, and that's what excites us. And for me, a big part of it, and something I communicated to you, Nikki, was that, you know, a lot of it isn't necessarily even the Halloween aspect as much as it is seeing your family and seeing your haunt family, your friends. You can't walk 10 feet without getting a hug. You know, you're seeing everybody, talking with everybody, and that's half the fun of this event, is seeing everybody. So it was definitely emotional coming back. It was definitely a lot coming back, but oh man, it is so we're so happy to be here and experience everything. So we've been here. I was here, like I said, yesterday, and then today we've done a lot of things. Actually, we watched the full show floor, Hall of Shadows, saw Zombie Joe. So we're going to walk through some of the stuff that we've done, kind of give you our ideas and thoughts about everything. So I don't know about you, but I felt really overwhelmed going into the show floor. Not because of people, you know, but the sheer size. And I think I just don't remember how big the show actually was.
Well, I think it has gotten bigger and bigger over the years, you know, so it definitely was intimidating, even keeping track of where we had been on the show floor and where we still had to go, you know, throughout all the rows, because we didn't want to miss anything. So it's a labyrinth of items and things and celebrities and everything. Yeah, spooky labyrinth.
A spooky labyrinth, yes. Very much so. And it's fun to walk the show floor, and I don't want to get the wrong impression by saying it's overwhelming. I mean, it's overwhelming in a good sense. Like, there's so much to look at, so much to take in, that wanting to go slow and make sure that you see every single booth is a big thing, because you don't want to miss anything. What if there's an item that you really wanted to buy from a particular creator or artist, you know, artwork, or you want to get a particular celebrity to sign a poster, you know, those sorts of things. You know, for us, you know, Nikki bought a really cute, you actually have it on your lanyard right now, I'm looking at it, a cute hair clip with a zombie candy corn and 2 other candy corns that are very scared of him. And the 2 candy corns are normal, but the zombie one is blue-green, which is really cute.
It's adorable. And if you know me, I love candy corn. Everyone who says that candy corn is yucky are so wrong.
They're terrible humans.
Yes.
You should unfriend them on Facebook.
No, I judge people by their opinion of candy corn. No, I don't really.
What if I told you that I didn't like candy corn and I only said it to marry you?
I appreciate the effort in trying to like what I like.
What if I said I only liked candy corn to get in your pants to have a kid?
That is false.
I like candy corn, don't worry.
Yeah, no, that is false.
You know what I like more than candy corn?
Huh.
You.
Oh, thank you.
You know what I like even more than candy corn?
Huh.
The pumpkins.
The pumpkin?
The pumpkin candy corn
No, that's
ones.
too much.
No. It's like the perfect amount of texture. I love it.
Okay, texture maybe, but candy corn is the perfect little punch of flavor.
There are people listening to this right now, like, gagging probably at the concept and idea and thought of eating candy corn.
Candy corn is a very polarizing candy, and I know that. But it is lovely, and I love it. You know what I flippin' hate?
What?
Peeps.
I thought you were just going to say pee.
No.
No, peeps can rot in hell and
They
die
are
forever.
awful. Okay, you know how? Okay, I also judge people based on their choice.
You're very judgy.
No, of
candy.
No, of holiday candy.
Holiday candy?
Holiday
So if
candy.
people don't like the pumpkin Reese's peanut butter cup, you judge them for that?
I judge people if they don't like Reese's peanut butter cups in general. But if you like Peeps, you're a psycho. If you don't like candy corn, you're just a terrible person with no soul. So
I love this tangent. This is
Yeah.
a very informative and fulfilling tangent that we're having here.
okay, yes, no, but that's it. That's my 2 cents.
We digress. Moving on, we also got some artwork.
Oh yes,
So
we did.
we got some artwork to put on our stairwell, which we have a ton of artwork from a very specific artist that we've met here at Midsummer Scream over and over and over again.
We'll post it on Instagram.
Yeah, we'll post all of the stuff that we got on Instagram, and then I got an autograph art print from the Chiodo brothers, who, if you don't know who those people are, they are the creators and directors of Killer Clowns from Outer Space. They worked on a bunch of other movies, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. They did the Large Marge sequence, a lot of fun stuff. So if you're interested in them, you should definitely check them out online and familiarize yourself with their repertoire of work. So we definitely did those things, and we took our time in the Hall of Shadows too.
Yes.
Which their theme this year is Midsummer Estates, and it's this neighborhood that you're walking through, I guess, on Halloween night, because there's people giving out candy.
Yeah.
And each house is themed to a particular horror movie or TV show, or things that are just horror adjacent, because that first house on the left, not the last house on the left, the first house on the left, is Scooby-Doo,
Yep.
but if it was The Purge.
Yeah. Sometimes they do mashups, and then there was a Gremlins house.
A Nightmare on Elm Street,
Yeah.
Evil Dead.
Uh-huh.
They had a Trick or Treat / Halloween 3
Yeah.
mashup house. There was a clown house. There was like a clown out front with creepy ice cream with
Yes.
eyeballs and bites taken out of them and stuff,
Yes.
and they're screaming in horror.
And so there was lots of fun stuff to walk through and see. And you could ring the doorbell on the Evil Dead house.
Yes,
and
so
it would, do stuff.
make sure you take your time to appreciate the details in there, because Cal Hans, who is the group of people who actually made that entryway happen, put in so much effort and time and love into it that it really deserves that time to really soak it all in. There's so many little details. I absolutely love it, and I thought it was a great entryway to the Hall of Shadows itself. The Hall of Shadows, like every other year, is absolutely insane. It's huge. It's massive.
So big.
There's
so
there's so many little haunts in there, and sometimes they're not very little. You know, in the past, we've come to expect the haunts within the Hall of Shadows to be pretty small. Nothing
Yeah.
like huge.
Yeah.
But there's a haunt in there from Fear Farm that is humongous.
Yeah, I was so impressed. It's like honestly, like haunt standard, like good, like very long, very intricate. So much fun.
Yeah, just to echo what Nikki said, you would expect this thing to be short, not super detailed, just because, they have a few days to put these things together. But man, it was extremely impressive. The amount of actors they were having there, the types of scares they had in there, the lighting effects, the sound design, everything. They did such a good job. And I would have to say that kind of all around, every single haunted house that we went into was excelling at a particular thing.
Yeah.
We went into the Corona Haunt, and they had fantastic sets.
Yes.
With great scares.
Yeah, and the lighting was really good in there too. Yeah, I feel like every single haunt that we've gone into so far has upped their game over the years, and whether it's their first time or, their returning haunt, I feel like they're constantly upping what they do.
Exactly, and we were just thoroughly impressed by all of it. And there are still many haunts that we haven't gone through yet. And the one thing I do like about the Hall of Shadows is that not everything is a haunted house. Some of it is, like a little game that you can play. Like there's this little traditional Halloween setup where you throw hacky sacks at masks, and the hacky sacks look like candy corn. Candy corn. And there's a ring toss where you try to get it on candles and stuff, and they give you little pieces of candy if you win or if you don't win, which I think is super fun. There's also a little walkthrough for Dia de los Muertos, so it's being able to celebrate the holiday in many different facets, which I absolutely love. So
yeah, and there's a bar.
We can't talk more good things about the Hall of Shadows, so we're going to have to go back and experience everything else that it has to offer. But right now, we actually have to stop recording because we have to go back to the Hall of Shadows in order to catch one of our favorite things.
The Slider Show. I'm so excited.
Of course, Decade Brigade.
It's my favorite thing out of like almost all of Midsummer Scream. I love it so much.
You mean seeing peepees inside Zombie Joe's is your favorite thing?
It's up there. It's definitely up there for sure. But I think the Slider Show beats it.
Up there?
They were not up there.
No, they were not.
No, they were not.
But we have to go down there to go see the Decade Brigade slide. So we're going to pause here. We'll come back, talk a little bit more about our experiences and everything else here at Midsummer Scream. Okay, we are back. We have experienced so much in the span since we've been gone, which is short for you, long for us.
Yeah, like half the day.
Yeah, almost. So let's back up and start from the stuff that we haven't talked about.
Okay.
So let's jump into Zombie Joe's and in its ridiculousness.
Yeah.
How do we wrap Zombie Joe's up into a neat, packly, tight, packaged sentence? I feel like that's impossible.
It's an 18 and up theater horror experience.
Not performing. What's the term? It's I almost want to say
performance art.
Performance art. Yeah, performance art. That's why I wanted to keep saying performing arts.
Yeah.
The Performing Arts Center. No, performance art. So it's like avant-garde at times.
Yeah.
It makes you think. The concepts and themes that it's playing with. And very shocking at times.
Or it might just make you clutch your pearls.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, when you go into a Zombie Joe show, you have to be aware that there's going to be nudity. And there's going to be sexual themes. There's going to be themes that are going to make you squirm, things that are going to make you feel uncomfortable, things that are also going to make you laugh. It runs the gamut of emotions. And when you deal with that kind of art form, I mean, I think that's normal. Yeah, definitely.
So, it's definitely something that's unique. I think it's something that fits in well here at Midsummer Scream, and they also have their own theater space in LA. But definitely, I think it's something that if you feel like that sounds like it's up your alley, go check it out.
Yeah, we've gone to Zombie Joe's a ton of time at their theater in LA. It's in North Hollywood in the Arts District. It's literally right near the sign where it says NoHo on up on the arch. We've frequented their establishment for multiple different events. During Halloween, they have a kind of like a blackout maze where they give you like a dirty flashlight. You walk through, you see kind of like very weird, horrific things happening in the dark. You end at the theater, you watch the show, and you exit through the maze again in the dark. So that's kind of how it goes. But here, there's no maze, it's just a show. But be aware that if you are going to go for their Halloween events, that there will be a lot of things that are really going to push you past the bounds of your level of comfort, probably.
Yeah, for sure.
And, there's definitely things where people are going to laugh because they're uncomfortable because it's just not what you're expecting to see. And if I were to explain what we saw, I think this episode would go a little too far.
Yeah, definitely. So that's all we can say. I think you guys get it.
Yes.
You get it.
We enjoyed the show. We thought it was fun for if you can call that fun, but we enjoyed it to a certain extent. And then after that, then we went to see the Slider Show of Decade Brigade over in the Hall of Shadows. Now, we've spoken to multiple different members of the Decade Brigade. We're friends with them, and they were touting the show as probably one of their best because they really focused on choreography in this one rather than just like balls to the wall, all-out sliding burnouts.
Yeah.
And I can 100% agree that that's exactly what they did. I think the show that they put on at Midsummer Scream is probably one of the best they've done in the history of their group.
Yeah, it was so much fun, and that's not even mentioning the fact that their like costumes and makeup were stellar. They've been doing this thing for the past few years where it's kind of like black and white makeup and costumes, and it just looks so freaking cool. Like, I love it. I love it.
What really works about that black and white makeup is that whenever you have these colored lights, which inevitably they have a huge lighting package, that reflects off of them, and they kind of turn those different colors because it bounces off of their white makeup, and that can kind of reflect any colors they choose to. So when they have these big flashes of light, it works really well off their makeup and the costumes. But yeah, like Nikki said, like, it's just a fantastic show, and we implore anybody who hasn't been to a Decade Brigade show at any event, go see them. You will not be disappointed. It is a wonderful, talented group of people who put their body on the line to do all this ridiculous tricks and things with sliding, which I think some people don't even tend to think about in a way, because I think they think of it as a scaring tactic.
Yeah, definitely. And they really turned it into an art form and like a really physical like sport almost.
Big time.
Yeah, so they've taken it so much farther than just its roots as like a scare tactic, and I think it's really, really cool.
It's fantastic, and big shout out to that entire crew. They're phenomenal. They have a ton of cool merch, so definitely check out their merch. We've purchased so much stuff from them, and I rep their Decade Brigade stuff all the time, so really enjoyed their show this year. So then the next big thing that we hit was the Halloween Horror Nights panel. Now, this was the only panel that we saw today. I think we kind of ended up not seeing other panels just because we had other priorities. Really wanted to see Decade Brigade. We really wanted to go through more haunted houses, so we ended up just putting the priority on the Halloween Horror Nights maze panel. So, and also house, yes. Not maze. Putting the priority on that. So we just got out of there right now, and we got handed a bunch of stuff that I don't think anybody expected.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like usually the Halloween Horror Nights panel might be like one announcement, and like this one, it was just like chock full of like announcements and details and Easter eggs and special guests, and it was like a blast.
So right off the bat, John Murdy came on stage and announced a original maze coming to Halloween Horror Nights, and that is Scarecrow the Reaping. Now, this was speculated, this was rumored, it was on Horror Night Nightmares speculation map that Scarecrow the Reaping was coming to Halloween Horror Nights, and it is 100% true. Now, if you know, this was a maze that was at Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando in 2017. We actually got to go through this maze, and we actually think that was probably the scariest maze or house that year when we attended.
It was definitely our favorite that year. I remember us talking about it.
It was claustrophobic.
Yeah, and just like the sounds.
The sound design of that was good, because a lot of the trigger noises were like squeals, screeches.
Yeah.
Like it was very unnerving, but it was one of our favorites. So we're excited to see it come here to Universal Studios Hollywood. Now, their inspiration here is a little bit different in delving into the history of the era and the time that the house is taking place. I think it's the Dust Bowl, which is a gigantic piece of inspiration for John Murdy and his creative team. So I think it's going to be different in that sense. Now, I'm excited to see a different take on it. We've been seeing this facade standing in the parking lot behind Curious George for forever, and we've seen it kind of evolve over time. So now that we have a name for the maze, I'm very, very excited. Now, the other big piece of news that came out was that Slash is returning to Halloween Horror Nights to do the music for the Universal Monsters Legends Collide. Now, Slash actually came out on stage. How cool was that?
That was really fun and like unexpected. And so what they did was they took some time to talk about Slash's history with Halloween Horror Nights and how it started, and they played clips from all of the music that he's done for all of the mazes so far. And I just thought that was really cool and interesting.
Yeah, so starting from Clowns 3D to Universal Monsters, then Frankenstein meets Wolfman, then to Bride of Frankenstein Lives, and then now this brand new maze. And we got a little treat of music from that, so I'm actually going to play that here so you guys could hear that.
Give it up for Slash.
Now, that music gave me chills when we heard it. And, you know, in the past, I've been kind of weird on Slash's music for the mazes. But last year's, you know, Bride of Frankenstein music really
turned you into a believer.
Turned me into a believer, and I'm so excited to hear his take on this music and his inspiration behind like all of this. So, like, how do you feel about his music or in this new maze?
I feel really good about it because just hearing him chat, you know, on stage, it really gave me the impression that he thinks about a lot of factors that go into the mazes. He's not just like, oh yeah, this music will do. He thinks about like the concept and the time period, and he really puts like thought and care into the music that he creates for it. So I really appreciated that.
I completely agree. And then the last thing that happened in the panel was that John Murdy teased something and he didn't tell us what it was. Now, it was this ghost story about a hotel that had a lot of tragic history.
A Hollywood hotel?
Yeah, I think it was like the Hollywood Hotel.
A bunch of women kept dying in it, and he focused on like the owner of the hotel, I think. And then it turned out that the owner got arrested for basically all of these murders. And
then sentenced to death.
Yeah, and then while he was being
in the gas
executed,
chamber,
he said, "I'll be back." And so that's all we got. And I actually, when John Murdy was telling the story, I actually thought I missed an announcement. I was like, wait, he's going into all this detail on this story. Did I miss something? Like, and so it took me a while to realize, oh, he's just teasing.
Yeah, so he literally was like, hey, how about an old Hollywood ghost story?
Yeah.
And then he jumped into that story, but he didn't tell us what it's for. So now my thought is that maybe it has to do with the Terror Tram.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the Terror Tram has a lot of ghost stories too, has a lot of history behind it, and has a lot to do with Hollywood history too. So to me, that just is, you know, apples and apples. You know, it makes sense that they would go together. Maybe he's coming back to the back lot to enact his revenge on people. Who knows? But I can't think of another maze where that would be going unless it's going inside where Walking Dead was, because Walking Dead's not around anymore. So I don't know.
That's the only other place I can see it fitting. Honestly, like I can't think of any other location.
Exactly. So excited to find out what that is too. So, but we have a little treat for you guys. We actually were able to snag an interview with John Murdy, the man himself, to talk about a little bit of the details surrounding the announcements and some other Halloween Horror Nights fun. So we're going to let you guys listen to that. Hello, everybody. Gabe here. I just got out of the Halloween Horror Nights panel here at Midsummer Scream, and I'm standing next to the infamous John Murdy, creative director of Halloween Horror Nights. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Very excited about all the announcements and teases. You heinous man. Teasing all the fans.
Change it up this time.
Well, I think that's good. You give a little trailer to things for the fans.
They've been very, very patient. There'd been a kind of a long period of time between announcements till we announced the weekend recently. So I thought everybody deserved, some things to talk about for the next few weeks.
Some Halloween treats, as
Absolutely.
it were. So speaking of the weekend, now that you brought it up, we've had a long line of mazes at Halloween Horror Nights that revolve around musical artists.
Yeah.
When it comes to the weekend, are you approaching it any differently than you were like Alice Cooper or Black Sabbath?
I think so. I mean, with Alice Cooper and Black Sabbath, those were like, Cooper was my childhood hero. Black Sabbath would have been like junior high for me, being so. And I think the horror is like more upfront in terms of like, certainly with Cooper with his stage show. So when we started talking with The Weeknd, I really needed to learn about his brand because I knew like the hit songs, but that's kind of all I knew. And then when I started researching it and getting into his music videos, it was like peeling an onion. Every time you'd look a little deeper, you'd find more and more. And I was like, wow, there is all this stuff going on, just directly under the surface of these songs. So in that way, we did approach it very differently than the ones we've done in the past.
Yeah. I'm very excited for The Weeknd because I like a lot of his visual style, and mixed with how you guys approach visual style, I think it's going to work out really, really well. And obviously working with Slash on another Universal Monsters maze, I think is very, very exciting. I think what he did with Bride of Frankenstein is probably some of the best work he's done.
Yeah, I would agree. Bride is currently my favorite for all of the music that Slash has done for us. And that actually was like pretty much the first time I heard that track.
Wow, really?
For the new one, because it flew into my inbox some ungodly hour last night. So it's literally coming right out of the studio. getting mixed.
I know how late emails feel. I definitely understand that. But when it comes to the brand new version of our Universal Monsters, when Slash is approaching these different themes that you're kind of handing him, you're probably giving him concept art, how do you guys work together in creating something that not only is going to help propel the story, but also set off the same mood?
Yeah, I mean, he's, Slash is a really visual person. He's an artist, aside from being, one of the greatest guitarists in the history of the universe. Yeah. So I always send him my full treatment. So he reads the whole treatment, and then I send him character art. I'll send him even elevations for the scenes as we're developing them, because he likes to have all that information. And then I just turn him loose and let him come up with whatever he's going to come up with, because it's always great.
And he always does a fantastic job. Which, last question, and I don't know if it's right or not. Did he do the music for the Scare Zone leading out of Bride?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I sat in that Scare Zone and just listened, because that was stuck in my head.
And he did the one in 2018 coming out of Monsters too.
So
that had
fantastic.
A little bit more of a punk guitar feel. Yeah, he did all of that.
Well, we're very excited to look forward to all the fantastic stuff coming to Halloween Horror Nights. So thank you very much for spending the time with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
It's always such a pleasure talking to John. He always has such great insight into what he's working on. It never feels like he's going to give me a canned answer. He puts it he puts himself out there for those answers. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. And he is so passionate about all of this stuff, and it really shows when you talk to him.
He cares about horror, and even because I was helping Norm from Horror Buzz, holding his camera because he held my camera for a photo, and he was talking about The Weeknd and how he hates how people try to keep horror within a box and not allow it to change or to kind of develop and flow into other kinds of themes and stuff like that. And he was excited at the prospect of bringing in The Weeknd because it allowed him to kind of step outside that box of what would be considered normal at Halloween Horror Nights and kind of push himself out of his boundaries, the comfortable boundaries too, and having to do a little research, figure out why and how this would fit at Halloween Horror Nights, and that ultimately excites him too. So all of that all together I think is fantastic, and I'm just really excited for Halloween Horror Nights this year.
Me too. I can't wait. I'm so excited. There's it just seems like a bunch of returning stuff that we love from the past, and then a bunch of new stuff that's just really, really exciting. Exactly.
So that's kind of rounding out day one, or rather day two for Midsummer Scream for us. Day one was really just me walking around the show floor, kind of getting my footing, as it were. But this is day two for us, and I think this is wrapping us out. How did you feel about the day that you were able to come here for Midsummer?
It was bonkers. It was so much fun. I'm glad that we, got here bright and early and, did as much as we could before it got, crazy busy, because it was a sold out day. Congratulations to Midsummer Scream. But, it just shows how big of a fan base this community has and how many people are so excited for not only just the Halloween season, but for events like this, just, to have this camaraderie and have this thing that we all love so much. So it was just great. The vibe was great. All of the merch was great. All of the home haunts and just haunts that were presented in the Hall of Shadows were amazing. So I had a great day.
I had a fantastic time, and like you said, it's a sold out crowd, so it was a bit intense. But that shows that there's such a hunger for this type of entertainment and information that Midsummer Scream was able to present to everybody, including us. We love coming to this event because we feel like we're surrounded by all the same people that think like us and feel like us and love all the same things. So that we love that about the event. But day two was insane, but hopefully we'll be able to touch base again on day three and then give you guys a little bit more information about the rest of Midsummer Scream. So we'll talk to you guys soon.
Okay, bye.
So we're here back at the house days after
about 2 weeks
after having gone to Midsummer. This is the longest gap in one episode ever.
Yeah.
Really, but as you heard at the beginning of the episode, we got COVID, so it just was nowhere near us to be okay to record and do an episode at all. I even have the article in our website editor just sitting there because I haven't written everything yet because we were just getting over it.
Yeah.
So make sure you keep your eyes open for that at themeparkduo.com, because we'll have everything there. And we have been posting a bunch of stuff for theme park news and things like that. So because we took an extra week to drop this episode, we're going to be dropping another episode next week that's more or less just about theme park news and haunt news, because a lot of stuff has been announced.
There's been a lot of news
in the last couple of weeks since Midsummer Scream has dropped, so, or at least ended rather. So we're going to be doing another episode just on all that stuff. But I digress. We will finish our talk about Midsummer Scream Day 3 right now. So, Nikki, you did not go to Day 3. I was there at Day 3.
I didn't even go to the party.
No, you didn't go to.
No, I left to relieve our probably very tired babysitters. So I left right after Day 2, Saturday, of Midsummer Scream ended, and then you went to the party a couple hours later.
Yeah, so huge shout out to my brother and his wife for watching our kiddo, so that Nikki can partake in the Halloween goodness.
Yes, I think everyone had the time of their lives.
Aaron was covered in temporary tattoos. They just came off the other day.
I'm pretty sure your brother and his wife Nora did not say no to any request of Aaron's all day. Aaron got spoiled. Big best time. Day of her life.
Yes, of course. She had everything.
Yeah.
But so you headed back here. Then I went back to the hotel. I shared that hotel with Greg from Park Journey. So he went there. We met up for food, and we went to this party together as dates. He was my boyfriend that night because you weren't there.
Well, you two have a great bromance.
Yeah, we do have a good bromance going on, so it was very nice. He held my hand. I was very honored.
And then you even went to a concert together.
Yes, we did go to a concert together. Actually, in fact, on Sunday evening, we left the convention center early to head to a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite band of all time. If nobody knows that, that's like ultimate my favorite band, hands down. I have a tattoo on my arm of the Asterix logo from that band. So we did go to that. That's awesome. But I digress. That's not what we're talking about here. Let's talk about the Deadly Disco, which was the after hours party that Midsummer Scream threw that you could have bought a ticket to, or if you were a gold bat, you had attendance to that. It was really cool, actually. Like, at first, like, when I walked up there, everyone's in costume, everyone's, like, in this party vibe, like...
Yeah, they're ready.
They're ready to get down.
There's a bar right outside the doors.
Like, if you don't know, like, yes, we're nerdy. Yes, we're dorky. Yes, we love all this silly, ridiculous nonsense of dead bodies and blood and fake all this nonsense, but, man... we know how to get down, man. The nerds and the dorks know how to have a good time at a party.
That's true.
You should have seen some of these people. Some of these people were butt wild.
What?
Get crazy.
What?
Crazy up in here.
Oh my gosh.
Some nerds got laid, I'm sure.
You know what? That's what happens.
Some nerd lovins.
When you stay in a hotel, it's like law.
What? Nerd Lovins is law? Oh, man, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Don't tell Greg.
Don't tell Greg. I involved myself in that nerddom. So, not the Nerd Lovins part, but the nerddom in general. I consider myself a nerd and dork and everything else in between that can be described in that way. But the party at first, I was like, hey, like, it's fun. Like, it's different. The disco ball's going, so they have all the lights kind of bouncing off everything. They had ping pong tables. They had multiple bars. They had cornhole.
Really?
As well.
Oh, yeah, fun. I love cornhole.
They had a whole bunch of different games, table games, things like that. A giant dance floor. So when I walked in, they were playing reggae, and the vibe wasn't right. It just wasn't right. And then all of a sudden they started playing Monster Mash and everybody lost their gosh dang minds. Like they'd never heard music before. What is this feeling in my body where I have to move?
They just started moving uncontrollably.
Yeah, pretty much. Like people just started going crazy, and it was just the vibe change that needed to happen. I think that the whole thing was kind of sponsored by Lovecraft, which if you don't know who Lovecraft is, they do a bunch of music, and their music is actually quite good. But the vibe was just not quite there, and I think after that, it felt like everything kind of started to pick up, and everybody came in their best costumes. Like they were dressed pretty dang cool. Some evil scientists. There's even somebody who dressed up like the TV from Halloween 3 with the pumpkin mask in the middle of it. And their whole on their shoulders was a table. So they were like the whole thing.
Oh, I think I saw them walking around during the day.
So
that's cool.
there were lots of really cool costumes, and it was just a really good time, just letting loose after a long day of being at a convention, but also just, I feel like letting loose in general, just because of the way life has been recently, that a lot of people were just finding the opportunity to have fun and let go and just be themselves and enjoying life.
Yeah.
So it's cool to have that opportunity to have that kind of a platform for yourself to kind of just be happy like that at Midsummer. So next year, if you're that kind of person that likes to dance or likes to have a drink, listen to music, be with friends, like this is the thing that you should really honestly be going to. It's totally a blast. But let's talk about day 3. Day 3 really didn't consist of too much for me because, I had to leave early. But I did finish up the houses, the haunted houses in the Hall of Shadows. So I did all the ones that we didn't get to do.
Which I heard there was a cool cowboy one that I missed.
That was that was the one that was like on the
first one,
like the first one you see on the on the right hand side. And it was called Straight to Hail. And it was very, very well done. Very cool effects, good scares. So good, in fact, that there was ones that I completely missed. So when I went through it a second time, I got scared from the ones that I didn't see before. So it was very, very well done. I really, really liked it. I also did Reckland Asylum that was over in the back bar, left-hand corner, which was super awesome. I got jumped by a slider. That was pretty cool.
Like jumped?
Yeah, like I laid on the ground and they jumped over me.
Oh, cool.
That was pretty awesome.
I thought you meant like they mugged you.
No, yeah, they mugged me. Give me all your makeup.
I mean,
right now.
Who knows? Who knows?
They just held me at glove point.
At glove point, yeah.
At glove point.
They threatened to spark you.
Don't spark me, bro. So we got to do the rest of the haunted houses. And Hall of Shadows just was so good this year in general.
Oh,
I
good.
felt like every single haunted house just really brought their A game.
Yeah, no, like I loved every single one I went through, which was like 80% of them. And for me, my favorite was by far Fear Farm. Fear
Farm really brought their A game big time.
So cool. I mean, they had stilt walkers out front. Their facade was just amazingly huge.
Pretty breathtaking,
the scares were great. It really makes me want to check out their actual location.
Even though they're out in the middle of nowhere.
It's very far away, but it sounds so cool.
Literally a place I've never heard of before, because when they were telling me, they're like, have you heard of this place? No. Have you heard of this place? No. Have you heard of this place? Yeah. We're 3 towns from there.
I've heard, I can't remember now because it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I had heard of the location, but I've done a little bit more California traveling than you.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. But let's talk about the panel that I saw on that Sunday, which was the 13th Floor Entertainment Group's panel. Now, this comprised of 3 different attractions, and that is Delusion, LA Haunted Hayride, and Shaqtoberfest. Probably the one thing the entire weekend we were dying to hear about, and I'm not just being facetious here. Like, I'm being honest. I wanted to hear everything about Shaqtoberfest, because honestly, I feel like this is going to be like the sleeper hit of the Halloween season.
Seriously, it's like no one saw this announcement coming, like when it was announced, and it was just, it's such like a interesting combo. I think all of us just can't wait to see what they do.
Yeah, so we're going to give you a little bit of insight on what they talked about, but we're also going to talk about all 3 of these. So let's start with Delusion. So we have the press release here from Delusion because it's been 2 weeks since Midsummer. We have a little bit more information. But I'll read all of this to you guys right now. So the 13th Floor Entertainment Group, the producers of the world-class live entertainment and location-based entertainment experiences, today announced the highly anticipated return of LA's most popular interactive events, Delusion, officially opened to the public on Thursday, September 15th. 13th Floor and director John Murdy will once again bring his one-of-a-kind interactive horror theater series to life in a historic Phillips estate, so the same location as before, same location, with a new play titled Delusion Valley of Hollows. Delving into an era never before experienced in an interactive theater, the play will explore the 1970s American cults with a supernatural twist. Though Valley of Hollows is a standalone sequel to 2021's Reaper's Remorse, Braver has made sure that returning Delusionals need not have attended last year's play. So that's really, really good.
Yeah.
Delusionals will play the role of deprogrammers, those meant to help rescue people from the influence of cults. During the 1970s, there was an influx of cults popping around up the United States, such as Children of God, and the Manson family. Since the disappearance of Esther Phillips over 20 years ago, a cult known as the Hollows was born. Fanatics from around the world have come to her estate, driven by rumors of a gift beyond this life, if only they could die on her grounds. Playing upon this phenomenon, Delusion will swallow its guests into the most disturbing interactive play to date, where they will uncover the truth behind the Hollows. So, by the way, tickets have gone on sale. If you're listening to this now, do not hesitate. Go to there right now. Buy tickets because Delusion sells out.
Yes.
Like, period. No more tickets. They don't release more. It is done.
You have lost your opportunity for the year, maybe 2 years. Because, you never know with Delusion.
So,
but
we
it
highly
is
suggest
always worth it.
Always,
folks,
always worth it.
Like, shut off this podcast, go buy your tickets, and then come back because we want you to come back.
Yeah. So, if you've come back after buying your tickets,
welcome back.
Welcome back. But I'm very, very excited about this. We were shown a teaser at Midsummer, and it started with a lot of images and visuals of cults like Jim Jones and Manson and things like that, which all of that evokes just a very, very weird feeling because what's associated with a lot of those people, a lot of those historical events, especially Jim Jones, knowing how many people died because they drank his Kool-Aid and things like that. I think it evokes a particular emotion. So I think that's the right primer leading into something like this.
Did you know that the Manson Ranch was right here in our hometown?
Yes, I did.
And did you know that my grandma went to the senior center with a lady that said she almost shot him for coming on her property? And she told me point blank, I wish I had shot him.
Yes, you have.
That's okay.
Multiple times.
Side tangent over.
Yes.
Don't sound so annoyed.
I'm
Gosh,
not.
I'm telling the audience via you.
Oh, sorry, I'm just a vessel for your message.
You are just a vessel for my fun fact. So try to act more entertained.
Oh, wow, really? I didn't know that.
I'm halfway through my Topo Chico.
Yes, you are. Nikki's getting very, very aggressive.
Feisty.
Yeah, so the teaser definitely gave a particular vibe, and I really dug it, especially after last year's tone. I think that this is going to be a really nice kind of follow-up to that. And I'm really excited because I actually really liked Reaper's Remorse a lot.
It was really good.
I liked their open world aspect that they kind of had where you were allowed to kind of open up the story a bit more before or after experiencing the play. So,
and I also like the location at the Phillips Mansion. Like, I'm glad that they're back there because it lent itself really well to like a full date night. It's like you can go early, and I'm sure it'll be around the same this year. You can go early, you can wander around the rooms that are opened, to the guests. It was like the two front rooms. There'll be little clues and stuff, and then there's a whole little area off to the side where you can eat and drink and wait for your turn. So it was a great location, and I'm excited that it's back there.
Yeah, we'll see if they're actually going to do that kind of thing again, like kind of the open world and that kind of a thing. I would be shocked if they didn't.
Well, I mean, if they don't, the only reason I could see is because they're utilizing more of the house for the actual show.
Yeah, we'll just have to see.
But still, you could hang out outside and get a drink and some good food.
Just based on last year's location and where most of the story took place, they'll probably just have the same situation going on, but we'll see.
Yeah, it depends on the story they have to tell.
Yeah, so it was really cool hearing John talking about, the creation of this, and he's talked about having a lot more creatures in this one, so I'm really pumped to see more monsters, because I think a lot of our experiences in Delusion haven't included monsters. Like, we've had a big rock monster, we've had vampires, like maybe the long neck lady from last year counted as a monster, but other than that, we've not really had a creature yet. So I'm pumped to see something like that come to life in this type of experience. So so we from that we actually move on to LA Haunted Hayride. So LA Haunted Hayride, we had Ted Doherty on the stage talking about this one, which was absolutely fantastic. I love Ted, and I love the way he talks about the stories that they develop for LA Haunted Hayride. Really, anything Ted does, he just has a way of talking about it. I've noticed that Ted has a cadence that's very similar to Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, really?
Totally
I haven't
similar.
noticed.
And it makes me very interested in everything he says. But
Well, yeah, no, Jeff Goldblum leaves you like hanging off of every word. You know,
Yeah.
you're waiting for him to say something else.
Exactly.
I'll have to pay attention the next time.
Yeah, no, it's just the cadence in which he talks is very similar. But let's talk about LA Haunted Hayride this year. So they're in Griffith Park, same location.
Nice.
The first thing that's going to be returning is, of course, Trick or Treat is a thing that was there before 13th Floor took over, and they revamped it, so that's coming back.
Nice.
I love Trick or Treat. I think it's a fantastic, Halloween themed experience during a Halloween event. I think it fits very, very well. Another maze that's coming back is Midnight Mortuary, but it's getting kind of redone in a way, and it's has the not tagline, but it has the added title of Midnight Mortuary Evil Unearthed. I think it's Unearthed or Evil Earth. Oh, Evil Earth. That's what it is.
Evil Earth.
Evil Earth. So we're going to have a little bit more to do with this, a little bit of a different story, things like that. So I'm very interested in that. And then a brand new house, brand new maze that's replacing Dead End Diner.
Okay.
And this is going to be a slaughterhouse that has been taken over by clowns.
Oh.
So it's not the slaughterhouse, it's the laughter house.
Okay.
So literally the logo is a giant mouth, and this is Slaughterhouse, but with the S crossed off.
Oh.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So here, I have pictures up to refresh my memory. Like that.
Okay. I was having a hard time with the spelling of laughter.
Oh, I know. You were.
Sorry.
I could tell. But very excited about all that. I mean, I like LA Haunted Hayride. I think last year's event was okay. I thought it was fine.
Yeah. I don't think I went last year.
I think I went by myself.
Yeah.
Just based on timing and, what
we have to pick and choose the events that we get babysitters for.
I mean, it really is just divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Like 85-15 and conquer. Just because that's inevitably the situation.
Yeah.
I think he's just that's the type of person to go to an event on alone and then cover it.
No, you are much more of the people person. I am the assistant. When we're at live events.
Yes, you are very helpful.
I am Instagram stories.
The show would not be you or be as good as it is without you.
No, I am half of the duo. I am mostly for the podcast and Instagram stories. Gabe does everything else.
Yes, just a little bit.
I appreciate
just a
you.
little bit. I love you. Thank you. I appreciate you. But yeah, you did not go to this one last year. I remember being alone. I remember seeing our friends Brett and Renee there, so I definitely remember being alone and sitting alone and eating alone. That's a lot of alone.
So sad.
It's all good. I had a really good time.
Okay.
I actually ended up running into a bunch of friends. I mean, that
always happens.
It's the inevitability of going to these events. Even if I were to go without Nikki, is that I end up running into so many friends. It just happens. So I thought last year's was fine. We'll see how this one is. There's a lot of fun new things added to this year's event, and the same fun ridiculousness that kind of comes along with LA Haunted Hayride in terms of, Midnight Falls and all the silly characters.
They're great characters,
and of course, the mayor, Monty Revolta, is returning.
Nice.
Which I actually love Monty Revolta. I think last year was the first time that I actually stopped and just listened and watched, and I absolutely fell in love with the ridiculousness of his stage show and his antics and self-deprecating humor, and anybody that comes up and talks to him, he's making fun of them, and it's just a really good act, and it works really well with LA Haunted Hayride. So I'm excited for Monty to come back. But let's talk about the thing that I'm most excited about, that we're most excited about, and that's Shaqtoberfest.
Oh yeah,
this is happening over at the Queen Mary in Long Beach, California. And the biggest thing about this event, I think, to communicate is that it's going to be family friendly.
Yes.
It's going to be family friendly. That there is going to be a choice to get scared if you want to get scared, that kind of stuff. But the thing is that with the event, it's very Fright Fest-esque in the sense that during the day, it's going to be family friendly for sure. All the stuff, treat trails, things like that. And as the sun starts to set, that is when the whole event kind of turns into more of a scary atmosphere with scare actors roaming around everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they made a very big point in saying that Shaq really wanted to make sure that the event encompassed kind of everybody in terms of its audience. So he wanted to make sure that there was a place for families and kids, but also at night it was for, young adults and adults to come and enjoy something a bit scarier.
That's nice, because there's not that much There's actually a lot of stuff for kids for Halloween, but it's nice that he included the whole family aspect during the day, and it extends the life of the event too.
It really does.
It's not just like an after hours like nighttime event, which is cool.
Yeah, and they showed a lot of concept art, and I can't tell you how excited it got me because a lot of it's just a lot of Shaq. Just a ton
As
of
the name would
Shaq.
suggest.
I mean, like the first image is like Jack's giant head with like a voodoo hat, like priestess, like or voodoo priest top hat, holding a pumpkin and like a staff, and you're walking underneath his head.
Nice.
I hope to God this is real.
Yeah.
Like, I hope that this is not just pie in the sky artwork of like I wish we could do this. I want this to happen so bad. And they said there's going to be a lot of puns, a lot of Shaq puns, a lot of inside jokes with Shaq. One of the images they showed is Shaq shooting a free throw, but in his hands instead of a basketball, it's a pumpkin, a jack-o'-lantern. Mm-hmm. So a lot of situations like that. I mean, like the crowd lost their mind when they showed this image. Just a lot of nonsensical things like with Shaq. It's not something you're used to seeing during Halloween.
Yeah.
So... And then not even just like visual gags, but just also name gags and stuff like that. It's Shaqtoberfest in upon it itself is like kind of making fun of Shaq, but also putting Shaq's name in everything else.
Yeah.
So they showed a facade for a house, and it was Shackenstein's facade.
Shackenstein?
So instead of Frankenstein, it's Shackenstein.
Okay.
Stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to a lot of Shaq and something or Shaq's name implemented in literally everything. If there's not food with Shaq's name in it, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be pissed.
Okay.
I can't think of a food with Shaq's name in it.
I can't think of a food either.
Me either. But we'll find out. We'll figure it out. We'll think about it. And I want Shaq-themed food. Dang it. So here are the 4 kind of areas that we're going to have here at Shaqtoberfest. Scare zones, themed areas. We're going to have Shipwreck Graveyard, which sounds very, very familiar to what Queen Mary was. Mm-hmm. Pirates Cove. It's Diesel's Pumpkin Patch, which, if you didn't know, Diesel is his nickname.
Okay.
Dead Man's Wharf, Midway Madness, and Lost City Boardwalk. So all of them very much like ocean themed. Obviously we're on the water here in Long Beach, so it makes a lot of sense. They give us a layout as well. I mean, me talking about the layout won't really make much sense to you guys, but... they're going to occupy all the space outside of the Queen Mary, just not on board the ship at all. But everywhere else, they're going to be taking up all that space. And the last piece of concept art here is just absolute chaos and nonsense of Shaq in the back with pirates and people running around like a giant octopus. Whole bunch of fun stuff. So, and they gave away free tickets as well, which was super nice of them. So you could have texted a number at the end of the panel, and you could text Shaq or Hayride and get a free ticket to one of them.
And you didn't do that?
No, of course not, because I forgot. I was too riled up, Nikki and Shaq. I was too riled up in Shaq. Okay. But it was a very fun panel. Hearing a lot more about these events is very, very, very exciting. So it was cool to hear all the information and getting to meet Monty Revolta at the end of the panel and everything. You made fun of me, of course, as it were. But let's talk about Midsummer as a whole and kind of talk about it from our perspective of, convention goers, how we think they did, everything like that. I think that Midsummer Year 5 was fantastic. I think Midsummer Year 5 was bigger and badder than every other year. But along with the bigger and badder come with a lot of issues that I think should have been solved way before.
I mean, that's
mainly with crowds. That's mainly with crowds and lines and stuff.
I give them some grace because, COVID, so there was a little bit of, dusting off the cobwebs, getting back into the flow of things, and also dealing with just like the like logistics of dealing with the convention center and their own staff and their own rules. There's probably a lot of stuff that we don't even know.
Oh, I'm sure
you know,
there's a ton.
so I give them grace for that. You know, I know it is not an easy thing what they do. And, you know, there's no way that any event like this is going to go 100% perfect. So, yeah, there were hiccups. Like, me, in my very, you know, naive opinion, do I think there could have been, like, maybe a
better system,
a more seamless system for like re-entry or getting people in and out? Because I know at one point, like, we wanted to leave to go to the food trucks, but we didn't want to wait in the line to get back in.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, that's so difficult.
It's so, you know, but I don't have an answer. I don't have a solution. You know, so it's not like I'm saying like they did this thing super terrible. You know, I'm just saying, you know, I'm just my experience. You know, so we didn't leave. But, you know,
a re-entry entrance for people who have gone through.
Yeah, so, you know, maybe like just a separate security line for re-entry instead of, you know, people just coming in for the first time. I don't know. I don't have an answer, but that's just something I experienced on Saturday. I know they were dealing with a sold out event, super big crowds, you know, and like as far as that's concerned, I think they handled everything really well, you know.
As best as they could.
Yeah, so like, you know, like there was no problems really down like on the show floor or the, you know, the haunts, any of that area. I never really felt
the crowds.
No, you know, it was really mostly just the logistics of getting in and out and waiting for the big panel room.
Yeah, that upstairs walkway where the giant theater is, or at least rather the big room is where you watch the bigger panels, is just not made to have a line. I just don't think that is going to work the bigger the event gets.
I know.
They're going to have the line be queued up somewhere else and then migrate the line or use one of the rooms nearby as putting in like a switchback. Yeah. Or if you're going to have a line somewhere, have roped off line queue areas, because just asking people to snake in one group is not going to work,
because no one's going to
listen. And then also, where does the line begin and end? All the stuff. And then once one person pushes, then it just becomes a bum rush, which is exactly what ended up happening. You know, because when Horror Nights line started getting long, we had dropped in line before it got really crazy, but we saw so many people cutting, so many people just not listening to the rules. Next to us, I saw other media people cutting. A bunch of people just not listening to the rules, and that, for me, somebody who tries to listen to the rules as much as humanly possible, that really bothered me.
Yeah, so it's stressful, you know, and I definitely think, you know, once again, I don't know the logistics of the area, but if there was a way to like have people exit the previous panel in a different location so they're not funneling out into the crowd waiting for the next panel, you know, it just could ease some chaos. Or, like have the gold bats / media line up there and then have the general admission line wait in a separate room and switch back in a separate room, you know, like Comic-Con does. You know, I went to Comic-Con, you know, and I remember definitely sneaking in separate rooms and, you know, and then just being let out eventually, you know, so just something. I feel like even if one thing got adjusted, it would ease the tension up there, because it's a very small space with a lot of people in it.
And the thing is that if you're going to have that line there, which I don't think it should be there, you have to have enough people to monitor.
Yeah.
You had one person up there. Poor Hendel up there was trying his best to monitor everything.
He's a loud man, but he can only do so much.
He can only do so much, you know, and if you have people at strategic locations, you can alleviate a lot of these issues by not allowing people to cut.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you have somebody right there by the stairs, one person at the front, then one person at the back, that kind of helps you monitor every single area from that queue. I don't know. I just feel like there needs to be more people up there monitoring the queue. That could have helped out a lot. So that was like the biggest like hiccup in the entire like the whole weekend was that queue for Horror Nights, because as soon as that opened up and they started letting people through, everyone just bum rushed.
Yeah.
Everybody went in, and, you know, people who were waiting in line for a long time who were first got really upset. Rightfully so.
Yeah.
You know, you're waiting there in line, listening to the rules, and people just bum rush the door.
Yeah, it was very stressful.
It was extremely stressful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we got seats, we did everything, and, you know, it worked out fine. And I'm sure everybody got seats and it worked out fine, but there has to be a better way to work that out. because that's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that solution is, but there has to be a solution. I don't know if that's putting it back into, the theater across or next door, or putting in the queue in a different room, queuing people up outside, whatever it may be. But there needs to be a solution.
Yeah.
But other than that, I really had a really good time. Other than the stress of the Horror Nights panel, I had a really good time at Midsummer.
Of course, we always do, and it's like, it's so hard to critique the event because, like I said, there's so many logistical things that we have no idea, what goes into this, or, where the creators of Midsummer Scream's hands are tied, where they literally just can't do anything because of convention, convention area,
Long Beach
logistics.
Convention
Yes. So, we have no idea. So, of course, we give them grace. And at the end of the day, does it even really matter that much? Because we love the event. We're going to go every year. We have a ton of fun. We, just love seeing all our friends, going through all the haunts. We appreciate every single aspect of the event that is put on for us each year.
Yeah.
And, that at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
It's like coming home.
Yeah.
It's like seeing the family that you haven't seen so long. You wait, especially with like COVID and everything, it feels like we haven't seen a lot of people for a long time. So, I think there's a lot of personal love that comes, plays into these events too, that are separate from the I like theme park aspect of things.
Yeah.
Or like Halloween,
It's a community.
It's a community of people coming together to love something together.
Tight-knit community.
Very, very tight-knit. So there's a lot of positives that come with it. And I'm not even going to try to reiterate anything because I feel like you put it so perfectly.
Well, thank you.
But, I'm excited for Midsummer next year. I'm going to be excited for Midsummer every single year. I think the event is absolutely fantastic. I think that the product that they put out is worth the stress that you have to deal with. In the moment, it's a little bit difficult, but afterwards, you think about it, like, yeah, I had a really good time.
Yeah.
Like, those minimal things that I got irritated at, those aren't that big of a deal. Mm-hmm. But overall, I love Midsummer Scream so freaking much, and I was glad that we were able to go together and have a good time.
Yes, finally together.
Yes. So hopefully you guys enjoyed our chat about Midsummer Scream 2022. Hopefully you want to buy up some tickets and enjoy the Halloween season like we did together with fellow nerds like you, or us and everybody else that goes.
It makes Halloween start in August.
Yes, it makes it way better.
Was it August? Was it July?
It was July.
July. It makes Halloween start in July. And we were so sad during COVID that now our whole condo is decorated
now
for Halloween because that's what we did while we were quarantining for a week. Woo! It is Halloween in here. Our 3-year-old keeps going around every morning
Halloween.
Going, Mama, it's Halloween today. I go, yes, it is.
It's Halloween every day, child. It's Halloween every day if you believe it to. In my black heart. But yeah, so hopefully you really enjoyed this week's episode. Sorry it came out a little bit late. Obviously, certain circumstances kind of got in the way here, but hopefully you thoroughly enjoyed the coverage, the interview with John Murdy, the special music from Slash, all that stuff. So let us know if you guys enjoyed it. Also, make sure, guys, support the show. If you enjoy what we do here, leave us a 5-star review.
Please.
It raises us up higher in the standings so more people can then find us and enjoy us like you are right now. And if you haven't followed us on social media, make sure you do. Like I said at the very beginning of the episode, you have podcast updates, content updates for everything that we do. So all you have to do is follow us at Theme Park Duo on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. And you have to follow us on TikTok. I've taken a break from TikTok, obviously, given the circumstances.
Yes.
But we're very close to 17K, and you can
follow us.
Yeah, go follow us there, and you can find us at The Theme Park Duo on TikTok. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, things you want to hear, things you don't want to hear, or things you don't like, if you want to have a spicy conversation with Nikki when she drinks her
Topo Chico.
Her Topo Chicos, you can always email us at
themeparkduo@gmail.com.
Thank you again, everybody, for listening to this week's episode, and always remember, there's always a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. See ya!
Thanks for riding with the Theme Park Duo. Make sure to gather all your belongings before the end of the podcast. Bye-bye.